this computer. Yeah, so that's recording. So welcome everybody. I'd just really like to welcome Chris, who's here with me, who's very kindly agreed to come on and just explain how working with me has been helpful to her. And what I'm going to do is just ask Chris a few questions so she can explain sort of how coaching has been helping her. So Chris is still working with me, but I'm grateful that she's agreed to do this. So Chris, would you like to tell me, how were you feeling before you started working with me? What was the sort of things that were perhaps causing you problems?
I think, obviously you and I know that I wanted to set up this private practice as a business. I'd come from another job. I'd left that. And I was just feeling that sense of overwhelm that everybody talks about. And I think that was falling into two different categories, really. One was around my sense of confidence and believing in myself. I come from an environment that really had probably undermined me for quite a long time. And I just stopped believing in myself, really. And I think second to that, just the practicalities of how many things I felt I had to get done and not knowing what the right order was, not knowing where to start. And actually, even in joining your group and a couple of other groups for support, sometimes even the positive stuff felt like overwhelm as well. Every day somebody would come on and say, isn't this a fantastic blog, or isn't this a great piece of training? And what do I do? Which am I meant to do first? To get myself up and running.
So just so much information that trying to work out what was the best thing to do next was actually,
and alongside that, not kind of thinking I was up for the task, I suppose, really, as well.
So that's sort of not believing in yourself was the problem. Yeah. And so, I mean, what was it that made you decide to sort of come forward and have coaching? Because it is a big step to make, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. The interesting thing is I actually saw your conference, your workshop on Attract More Clients.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was right on the cusp of needing for that to happen. Right at the beginning of kind of opening up my business and having nothing and being really very much in that place of limbo where you leave an old job and you take the leap into private practice. And I remember you advertising it and I didn't realize all your connections with other people really in groups that I'd been in, but I just went, I'm going on that course. I need to be on that course.
Yeah.
And then out of that, I then started having a look at your website and thinking, who is this Jo Hughes? What does she do? And just seeing that you did coaching and just thought, I need that. I need somebody to, lots of things really, to be accountable to give me a sense of confidence, really. Not give it to me, but elicit it from me, I think, and also just to feed the process, I think, really, because I think I was probably stagnating. I was recovering from quite a negative environment in work, but I wanted to get that momentum going again, and that's really why I connected with you.
Yeah. So how has it been since you've been working with me? What would you say has sort of been helpful?
More than anything else, that mental attitude has shifted massively. I mean, I'm excited again. You know what the biggest thing was? Our first conversation.
Yeah.
We talked about what I'd done and where I'd been and what my qualifications were and my experience. And just your first piece of feedback was, wow, aren't you experienced? Don't you have a lot of skill? And it was like, I hadn't heard that from anybody for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I think what it's done is it's woken up my confidence in my skills again. Just for somebody to go, oh, yeah, wow, you've got this, that, and the other. What could you do with it?
Yeah.
And I think our biggest conversation that's made such an impact on me is niche stuff. What am I particularly good at? Where are my passions lying? And how can I develop them? And I was writing a few things down earlier on, and I was thinking one of the biggest breakthroughs really has been that I've started dreaming again.
Really?
Like dreaming big, not sleep dreaming, but dreaming for things that I'd put aside because they seemed too big or too challenging, or
too much to do. Yeah.
And that internal critic or kind of imposter syndrome part of your personality wakes up and says, who do you think you are that you could do that? But I'm doing them now. You know, I'm doing some of the things we've talked about just in practice. I'm designing workshops, and I'm thinking about how I might roll those out to other people. And my gym has, you don't know this because we haven't had our most recent coaching session, but although I was doing that for some NHS people, I'm now doing it for my gym as well.
So you're doing workshops for them. That's brilliant.
And do you know what? I would have
live news. Breaking news. That's fantastic.
In this little bit of interview, you're finding out new stuff about what I'm doing that has been enabled, I think, because of the work we've done together.
Yeah, well, I think it's all the thing is it was all there, Chris, wasn't it? It's all there. It just come out. You just need to just believe in yourself, really. And
definitely.
Yeah.
Isn't it fascinating that just you know, a few conversations that we've had, you know, and they've been detailed, and they've been, you know, I think they've been quite hard work. You know, I've worked at stuff. You know, it's not like we just kind of sit and have a chat over a cuppa, but actually to have seen the difference, you know, in this short period of time that I've been working with you, I would never have guessed it, honestly. I knew it was a good thing to do, but I don't think I ever would have guessed at how far I would have come, you know, just internally in terms of believing in myself, I think.
Yeah. And it's because it's all there. It just needed to be brought out. And it's you that's doing the work. I think that's the important thing to say.
I wasn't claiming it all. I was just thinking.
No, it is. You're doing the work, and you're allowed.
It's not magic, is it? You still have to go away. You know, I'm conscious that every time we've talked, I've gone away with something to do, and when I do that, that's when I see the shift in the difference.
Yeah. So what's happening with your business? So you've got your workshops lined up.
Yeah.
Once you sort of open for business, it just took off, really, didn't it? Because
it did. I think there were certain things that really needed to come into place on the practicality side, and that was the other stuff that we've been looking at, you know, in terms of how I make plans that it's my business. I think when I first started, I was working around clients an awful lot because the flexibility was there in the beginning. I think the work that we did together was very important for me to be able to say, what do I want it to look like? And actually the Attract More Clients course really helped with that too, because, you know, it was very much looking at who am I in my business, you know, and how does that business reflect something about me, really, and what do I want it to look like, because it's such a big part of my life. It needs to make me happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I'm going to sort of wind things up now, but you've got, at the moment, you've got your workshops lined up, you've got working with clients on different days of the week, aren't you? Have you got any other plans at the moment, or is that enough for you going well?
I suppose I have a possibility of a conference coming up in November next year, which I would really like to be part of. Somebody invited me to speak at an autism conference a while ago, so I don't know whether that's still in the pipeline, but I think you and I have talked about that. It feels quite big, that idea that you might stand up in front of lots of people. And the interesting thing is that the business itself, I see as a therapy business. I love being in the room with one-to-one clients. What the work you and I have done together is expanded that to something that I kind of always knew I would, because I called it psychological services, my business. So I knew that it would always be something more. I don't think I would have ever dreamed as big as I've been dreaming. So there's definitely something in there around, maybe, God, it sounds really, really challenging to say it, but writing a book, maybe standing up and talking in front of lots of people, you know, those are in the pipeline maybe for much later down the line. I think I'd let go of those things.
Maybe you'd lost sight of them because you felt so sort of overwhelmed and lacking in confidence, because you had that confidence upping experience. So well, thank you very much, Chris. That's
a pleasure.
I'm going to turn off the recording now.
Okay.